influence policies towards its end to the as a system of convergence. The convergence, this allows for a space, the space within this tetrahedron, where there are different mixes of policies in order to allow for equitable entry points, but differentiated within this tetrahedron, with this enough space for responding to the specific needs of a specific site or a specific sector. This is exactly what is the idea, and this actually corresponds fully to the sustainable development approaches and the philosophy behind the achievement or simultaneous achievement of several of the sustainable development goals. And this is important for policies and strategies, not only at the top level, but also at the local level. It brings together strengths from different sectors, and this helps very much to turn a competition into a coalition. So of course, we have to understand the difference in elasticity of each one of them. And for example, the elasticity, the least elastic, is of course the ecosystems. So when we are considering integrated policies, we have to see also to take into account also this parameter in locating a particular generation, wind generation, or infrastructures, and all what we are discussing. What is very important is that through Nexus, you make the right choices. For example, you see that for all kind, you see for desalination, you need by far more energy than for wastewater reuse and wastewater treatment. So this Nexus approach leads to choices that can be wiser, and wiser from many points of view, and from the economic point of view, most importantly. Here is one map of the existing, under construction, and planned hydropower stations in the Balkans. You see also in Croatia, but also the neighborhood, how many are these? And some of these, if we consider the Nexus approach, might not be justifiable because of damages. So I go back to what it was said before by Thomas about the no harm approach. So it is very important that we understand that with this new approach, we have in front of us a revolutionary approach. I don't know if the countries will support fully this historic initiative, but we as environmentalists and supporters of sustainable development, particularly in decentralized, in islands and decentralized systems, the thinking of decentralized thinking has to be of great support of the Green Deal. Of course, we wait to see all the details in the coming days. Let me go a little bit to another support of our vision. We have to use not just models, but results. And this is a result. You see that in the red areas are the ones already most affected by water scarcity. Doesn't make, you see, even in the area of the Adriatic, this doesn't mean that we don't have water. It is that has been affected and will be affected more. But this is what we see already. For example, in the last few years, you see from 70s to 2010, and this continues actually the last decade, we had most of the driest winters in the region since the beginning of the 20th century. And this is not model. These are results. And when we get into the bigger picture of the Mediterranean, and if you see that all the red area here, where we have more than 10 million people living at the moment approaching 13 or 14, and these areas are in less than 1 meter above the sea level, you understand the threats for these people. And if the climate change is the second priority, the first one is migration in the mind of the Europeans. And you can imagine where these 10 million people will go if we continue having what we have at the moment, with the sea level rise and a even more difficult combined issue, which is the Renaissance Dam in the Nile. So there will be less water from the Nile, bringing the marine water closer and infiltrating there. So apart from the climate change and the sea level rise, you have the intrusion of the salt water in this area, which is also the most productive for food production in supplying most of the economy of Cairo, Alexandria, and the rest, with vegetables and all the rest. So it is a very, very complex issue. And this is why we need at the level, or particularly we as Mediterraneans, at the level of Brussels, but at the level also of the Union for the Mediterranean, the Barcelona Convention, the Mediterranean decision-making, to take into account the entire Mediterranean future. And here is where we are approaching 2025. And you see that when we go from the 90s, where the risk was only many, but only localized, we are approaching the third level, where we have negative, permanent negative impacts on regions, and the Mediterranean is one of them. And we have to avoid as much as possible this systemic higher risk for the region. And this is part of our narrative to support also the Green Deal and what is a real transition, needed transition, and COVID has helped us as a wake-up call on that. I leave this, but it's important to see what are the billions of dollars of damages throughout the world. Is not Mediterranean here, but is a scale, a change of scale in damages. And this, the disasters, the result of disasters is becoming not only economically, but socially unbearable. And this is something, again, that we need to take into account. It is not yet taken so seriously because several of these disasters were in Asia and the Americas.